Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name is Christy, and I'm an academic advisor at Wake Tech. We're so happy to have you all here with us this morning for our first virtual nursing information session. This event is geared towards our Wake Tech students completing an associate in arts or science, interested in transferring for a bachelor's in nursing. And it'll provide our university partners a few moments to share some highlights of their program, as well as some time for students and participants to ask questions through our Q&A chat. So first, I'd like to welcome our university partners that are here with us this morning. We have Carly Merritt from UNC Chapel Hill, Dominique Williams from North Carolina Central University, as well as Sheila Price from our Western Carolina University. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'd also like to thank our other academic advisors that are working behind the scenes of the event. We have Blair Turpin and Christy Arardi who are helping with the production of the live event, as well as Mike Holmes, who's going to be our Q&A moderator this morning. So thank you all. So we're going to go ahead and get started by allowing each of the university partners a few moments to introduce themselves and provide a brief overview and highlights of their program. And then again, afterward, we'll go ahead and begin our Q&A questions. So first, we're going to have Carly from UNC Chapel Hill introduce herself and give a brief overview and some highlights of the UNC nursing program. So Carly, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thank you, Christy. All right. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Carly Merritt, and I am the Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment at UNC Chapel Hill School of Nursing. I'm so excited you all are here today. I think this is going to be a great session. We're all very excited to talk to you. But to tell you a little bit about UNC's nursing program, so I am primarily going to be talking about our BSN program, so 5-semester BSN program. So if you're earning an associate in arts or associate in science, this is the pathway for you. It is possible to transfer directly from Wake Tech into the nursing program at UNC. You can finish your associate's degree in May and start our program in August. So that is possible. You do not have to apply to the university separately. It's just the application into the nursing program is all that's required. So just to know that. We accept applications from October through December every year. So our application for fall 2021 is getting ready to open. It'll open October 1st. And the deadline to apply this year is December 14th. We typically receive about 60 to 80 transfer applications for our program. And we usually admit, I'd say about 20 to 25 transfer students. So it's competitive, but it is absolutely not impossible. And I'm happy today to answer your questions about how to prepare a competitive application. We do conduct holistic reviews for our admissions process. So that means we are not just rank ordering students by GPA. We're actually factoring in many different things like your volunteer work, your special skills or abilities that relate to nursing. If you're a C-STEP student, that's great. Lots of different things go into our review process, so we can talk more about that. But just know we love transfer students at UNC. We are always happy to receive applications from transfer students. We do conduct unofficial transcript evaluations. So if there's one thing I can stress to you all today, if you're thinking about applying to UNC, it's to request an unofficial transcript evaluation from us. And what that allows us to do is look at your coursework, help you determine where you stand, if you're ready to apply, if you're ready to transfer. That is the best thing you can do to prepare to apply to our program. And you can find more information about that on our website. But again, happy to be here, happy to answer any questions that you have about UNC, and look forward to talking to all of you.
Thank you, Carly. Now we'll have Dominique from North Carolina Central University introduce herself and give a brief overview and some highlights of the NC Central Nursing Program. So Dominique, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to speak to you in regards to the BSN program at North Carolina Central University. I'm going to share my little PowerPoint with you. My name is Dominique Williams. I am a senior academic advisor in the Department of Nursing at North Carolina Central University. So a couple of highlights that we have, though COVID is happening, we have been continuously rolling, and some of the things that we've been doing virtual events. So our May graduates, as well as our summer graduates, had a virtual pinning ceremony in July, which was amazing. Many of our students are already out working, so many could not attend, but some did attend virtually. We also had a white coat ceremony for our new students that were recently admitted this summer. Our NCLEX pass rate currently is a 94, and for those that follow our history, it has increased dramatically in the last few years. We've had changes in our leadership, we've had changes in our faculty, our culture has become very student-centered, and we've also hired a student success coach to increase our scores. So Nursing Student Services is our academic advising office. These are the teammates that I work with every day, have a pleasure to work with. We do unofficial transcript audits on a daily basis. You can always schedule an appointment with us, meet with us virtually, and we will go over your transcripts. We'll tell you exactly where you stand and see how your progression would work. These are the current requirements for our program for transfer students. So we do have students that will transfer in a spring semester to be able to apply into our program. So you would need to transfer by a spring semester beginning of January. You would have to have at least a 3.0 or higher, a 2.8 math and science GPA. You can have no more than 2 math and science failures, and that includes D's and F's. We require you to take the TEAS exam and have at least a 70 or higher score. We do encourage students to complete most of their general education courses as early as possible, but of course meet with us so that we can give you a plan of action. So every January, students take our pre-nursing courses, which is Nursing 2020 Health Assessment and Nursing 2011 Intro to Professional Nursing. So the deadline for our application is January 31st of each year. Our application typically opens in September, so we just opened our application. We also had an information session last night that was very successful. We will have another one October 15th. So if you go on our website, you'll be able to register under our events calendar. And that's about it. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you, Dominique. Now we'll have Sheila from Western Carolina University introduce herself and give a brief overview and some highlights of the Western Carolina nursing program. So Sheila, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you.
Thank you very much. It's my joy to be here today. At Western Carolina, we have actually several different nursing programs. We have, of course, the traditional program where you can transfer from your community college if you have the credits and go into the traditional program. That program is very competitive. We have about 420 applicants for usually about 33 slots. They bring in a cohort every fall, and of course it's a 2-year program. If you are more interested in what happens after your associate degree, I'm going to show you our RN to BSN home place. Maybe. It's very easy to find. Just type in WCU RN to BSN, and you will find everything that you need to know here about the program, about what the requirements are for admission. This sometimes confuses people because the RN to BSN program admits folks who have been in practice for a period of time or fresh graduates. We have 2 different things. North Carolina's college systems created an affiliation agreement so that, and Wake Tech is one of those participants, if you fulfill their program, the articulation agreement says you will by default have completed our prerequisites for our program. So you will look at this prerequisite requirement just because you're conscientious and you want to make sure that everything's perfect. You can just look at that along the way and check the boxes off. But usually your advisors have that pretty much under control. You can see my schedule now. I know that's important to you. But there in the RN to BSN program, you will find everything you need. You can see that my computer punching skills are just incredibly proficient. So sad. But if you go back to the RN to BSN, WCU RN to BSN, It also has the list of our orientation sessions. We have those once a month through each semester, and we've even been offering through the summer. So if you miss one, come to another. It is a general overview of the program and then Q&A. My name is Sheila Price, and my email is scprice@wcu.edu. If you have questions at all, it would be my pleasure to answer those questions. The biggest thing I can tell you is work hard and plan ahead. One of the things that our university is working on is while you're in your associate degree, we are okay with you reaching out to me, and we make a commitment that if you make at least the GPA that is required for admission to our program, I will guarantee you a seat after your 2 years are complete. So keep that in mind. But again, if you have any questions, you can either email me directly at scprice@wcu.edu or just put WCU Nursing in your email and I will collect those as well. Look forward to talking with some of you, and God bless you for choosing nursing, I hope.
Okay.
Great.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead. I was just going to say thank you guys for introducing yourselves, and we'll go ahead and turn it over to Mike for those Q&A questions.
okay, so we'll jump right into the question, and some of you alluded to it already, but what is the average GPA that students have to be admitted to your program? And we'll start with Dominique.
Yes, so our cohort that we took this summer 2020, the average math and science GPA was a 3.4. The cumulative average was a 3.6, and the overall TEAS average was a 75.
Okay, and if we can have Carly answer and then Sheila.
So our minimum GPA requirement is a 2.8. Average admitted GPA is usually about a 3.5. That's a cumulative GPA, so that includes every single college level course a student's ever taken. Usually average is about a 3.5. Average science prerequisite GPA is also usually about a 3.5, 3.6, and we do not require the TEAS test.
And I'm Sheila at Western Carolina University. Our traditional program, the average cumulative GPA entering the School of Nursing is about a 3.8 because it is so competitive. Didn't mention before, we have this probably won't apply to you, but I'm just throwing it out. If you do choose to go another route in your health and science, we have a accelerated BSN for nursing, because after you go down that SOUNCE and other thing, you'll realize you really want to be a nurse, and you can come back and complete that. The entry-level GPA is 3.0, but because that is a cohort model, they usually only admit about 30 folks, so that is highly competitive. For the RN to BSN program, we want as many nurses as possible to achieve their BSN, so we have a 2.5 entry GPA cumulative for your associate degree work. And we do not put a cap on our admissions for the RN to BSN.
Okay, thank you all for that. For the next question, is your program a fall start only program? And also, can students begin in the spring or summer? And we'll start with Carly, and then we'll go to Sheila, then Dominique.
So for our traditional BSN program, it's only a fall start. We also have the accelerated BSN. If you go on to earn a bachelor's degree in another field and want to come back and do nursing, that program now begins in the summer. But for you all, if you're looking to do the associates in arts or science and then transfer into UNC, our program only starts in August.
Our program for the RN to BSN admits in fall and spring. At this point, we don't have a summer admission, but I'm hoping before I die we will. The traditional programs and the accelerated programs do admit in the fall only.
Our traditional program at NCCU begins in summer only, but you are required to be a student at Central in a spring semester to take those pre-nursing courses for admissions into the traditional program. Accelerated program, we also have an accelerated option as well that you can do as a second degree seeking student, and that begins in the fall semester.
Okay. So what are the prerequisite courses that must be completed before applying? And are there certain grade requirements in those courses? We'll start with Sheila, and then we'll go to Dominique and then Carly.
So again, for the RN to BSN, the associate degree needs to be completed to enter the program. There have been some very rare cases where, especially this spring when the world was crazy, that we did have some folks that had to retake a math or do something like that. They did that in the summer. So we do provisional admission and then hope you're there by the admission in the fall. Same thing for spring. For the traditional and ABSN, it would be the easiest thing to look at would be for just go to the website for the WCU BSN. The requirements are completed there, and there's just too many of them. It's your Englishes, your maths, etc., and all those liberal studies.
All right, at NCCU, we have quite a few GEC requirements. So I'm not going to list them all, but what we're really looking for are your math and science prerequisite courses. There are a total of 4 biology requirements and 2 chemistry requirements. So they're also listed on our website. So I would recommend you look on our website to get all of that information. And we require you to at least have a 2.8 in those courses.
Okay, so for students earning an associate in arts or associate in science, by May, prior to starting our program, you have to have completed that associate's degree. You also need a foreign language through the intermediate level, so that would be like Spanish 211 there, I think. You need a lifetime fitness course, which is a PED course. You need Bio 111, which is general biology. You need Chem 151, Chem 152. You need anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, microbiology, statistics, and general psych. So you probably didn't write all that down. The easiest way to see it is to go on our website, nursing.unc.edu, and you'll find all those requirements listed there. That also you can do the unofficial transcript evaluation. We can go through and make sure you have everything that you need or you're on the right track. Now, with all that being said, by the time you actually apply to our program in December, so by the end of the fall semester, so if you're thinking of applying now, it's going to be by the end of this semester, you need to have 3 of the 5 key sciences successfully completed. Our 5 key sciences are A&P1, A&P2, microbiology, stats, and general psych. So you got to have at least 3 of those done by this December, and then all of them done by May, and all of the other lower division requirements done by May.
Okay, and can you all just briefly speak about your BSN programs for students who may be getting a second degree? And we'll keep it here with Carly, and then we'll go to Dominique and then Sheila.
Yeah, so our accelerated BSN program, it is only open to students who already have a bachelor's degree. It starts in the summer. The application for deadline for this year has already passed. It was back in August, but it'll open again next June. Deadline again will be in August. That program is 4 semesters. So you start in May and then you graduate the following August. It has a 3.0 minimum GPA requirement. Again, that's a cumulative GPA requirement. And it's the same 5 key science prereqs: A&P1, A&P2, microbiology, statistics, and general psych. We also admit 104 students a year to that option. And typically it's about 200 to 250 applications for that program. So again, competitive, but not impossible by any means.
All right, the accelerated option at NCCU is a 4-semester program. It does require that you have a first degree, a bachelor's degree with at least a 3.0 overall score, overall GPA. We start that program in the fall, and you would graduate the following fall. And so the requirements are the exact same. So we require 3.0 GPA, 2.8 math and science, and we also require that you take TEAS and have at least a 70 or higher overall score. And that's pretty much it about that program.
Because I am not as proficient on the accelerated BSN, the best thing I can do is point you to the WCU Accelerated BSN program. It is very similar to what Dominique just described. You can see it is only admitted in fall, so the applications have to be there in early spring, and it gives you all of the prerequisites that you must have completed. Transfer credits. There's even a place where you can check, and if you had if you took courses in programs that are not one of the UNC schools, you can see earned elsewhere to see how it's going to transfer in. And then there are information sessions that they have regularly that you would be very welcome to check into.
Okay, and for students who may have previously been in a nursing program at another institution, are those credits transferable? We'll start with Dominique, and then we'll go to Sheila, and then Carly.
Unfortunately, at NCCU, you're not able to transfer any previous nursing credits into our program. Of course, if you are an RN to BSN, we do have an RN to BSN option that is completely online, where you will receive credit for your previous ADN program.
Western is very similar to that. The accreditation bodies drive that. It's not so much that we're discrediting your other nursing programs, but there's no way to qualify that the content is exactly the same or that you would be equitable. So we don't accept the nursing content, your liberal studies and all those other things, of course.
And at UNC Chapel Hill, it's really a case-by-case basis kind of thing. So if you already have previous nursing courses and you're admitted to our program, if you have anything that you think might take the place of some courses in our program, you can submit documentation, syllabus, course content outline, things like that, and our faculty will review it. Generally, though, nursing courses do not transfer from one program to another.
Okay, and is it okay to apply without volunteer experience? Some students are having issues with that due to COVID. We'll start with Sheila, then we'll go to Dominique, and then Carly.
I think that COVID has changed the world for everybody, and that probably is going to be very much a case-by-case situation. The issue, I believe, is really going to be for the traditional programs. They really think highly of, were you a nursing assistant? Do you have any exposure? Because they don't really want you to get in the middle of it and say, oh man, I didn't know nursing care was going to be like this. I want out of here. So they want you to have some exposure with caring for other people, but they have had to make some accommodations because of the lack of opportunity for experience. Post-licensure program really doesn't matter. That's not part of our admission criteria. Thank you.
So we do not require community service for admissions into our program. The university does require that students have 15 credits each semester of community service hours. And so with your clinical experience, you will obtain those hours. So it's built into our program, so you wouldn't have to worry about doing additional community service hours. Thank you.
At UNC, we like to see volunteer history for all of our applicants, even if you're looking at our RN to MSN program. But really across the board, all of our programs, we do look for volunteerism, but it is absolutely not required. And there are, so many other things that can strengthen your application beyond that. If your volunteer plans fell through this spring and summer, we heard a lot of that. So, my advice, if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, there are still some out there. Always the American Red Cross is looking for volunteers, but you might find some virtual volunteer opportunities, things like that. But if you're not able to find anything to jump into now, I think, the faculty, they're fully aware of what's going on. They've been through this as well. They've been working with their current students through all of this. So they understand that things that were, great plans in March just could not happen. So they're going to be understanding of things like that. There's a space in our application actually where you can tell us how COVID impacted you personally or academically, impacted your plans this year. So I would just encourage you to use that space in our application to tell us those things.
Okay, so just for clarity, students won't be disqualified for not having a volunteer in their application.
Correct.
Okay. So next we'll ask, can students be in progress with some of those prerequisite courses as they're applying? And we'll start with Dominique, and then we'll go to Carly, then Sheila.
So our application is due January 31st, and at that point, students should be registered for their pre-nursing courses, health assessment, intro to professional nursing, and in that semester, you can be in progress with microbiology or another class that you may need. It would just need to be finished by that spring semester. So any prerequisite has to be completed by the end of that spring semester.
Yes, so you can apply with courses still in progress. You must have all of our requirements finished by May, and then you start with us in August. So don't make any plans to be finishing courses up in the summer. You got to have everything done by May. When you actually submit your application to our program at the December 14th deadline, like I said, you do have to have 3 of the 5 key sciences successfully finished at that point, but you could have 2 of them left to take in that spring semester, and that would be fine.
Our program philosophy is the same as what Dominique shared. We know you're going to have things in process, but they must be completed successfully before the admission, whether it's August or January cycle, because our applications are being completed early in that last semester.
Okay, and as far as courses, are they only formatted for full-time during the day, or is there flexibility? And we'll start with Sheila, then we'll go to Carly, then Dominique.
The traditional programs and the accelerated and the traditional program are pretty much Monday through Friday, you're in class or in clinical or in some other activity. So that's pretty much the way it has always been. During COVID season, however long that lasts, it varies. You'll have some face-to-face for things that absolutely can't be done any other way, clinical, lab, those kinds of things. And they're doing the didactic online. RN to BSN is completely online. And there are often Blackboard scheduled class sessions during that time online, but we tend to aim toward late evening because we know a lot of folks are doing 12-hour shifts. But we work pretty well with the students to make sure we can accommodate their schedules on those online meetings.
Our BSN and accelerated BSN programs are daytime, full-time programs. Obviously, we've made some adjustments due to COVID. So a lot of our lecture courses have moved online and students are just doing clinicals in person, and then our on-campus clinicals, which are labs in person. RN to MSN is an online program. So it requires synchronous and asynchronous attendance. So some things you can do on your own time, some things you have to be there at a set time, but it is online. There are some on-campus immersion days for that program, outside of COVID adjustments, but otherwise all full-time programs.
The traditional BSN as well as accelerated BSN at NCCU is a daytime full day, program. Most of our classes are Monday through Friday. You will possibly have clinicals on Saturday and Sunday, possibly. Currently, because of COVID, many of our lectures are online, but of course, students are going to clinical as well as labs in person. Our RN to BSN is fully online, has been for years, and it will continue to be.
Okay, thanks for that. If a student does not have all of the prerequisites and they decide to transfer to the university to complete them and then apply for the nursing program, what does that process necessarily look like? And we'll start with Sheila, then we'll go to Dominique, then Carly.
It can be very interesting, but it's doable. What we do is evaluate the transfer credits to see how it fits. If you're talking about the traditional and ABSN, there are times when we have folks who have gone to 3 different universities because of various reasons to get those undergraduate things out of the way. Same thing with the nursing program. When we're looking at the prerequisites for admission for the liberal studies, etc., you submit all of your transcripts and we evaluate them for what will match the requirements, and then we work together. If you don't have a course that exactly matches, sometimes we can look at syllabus or other kinds of things and say it is a reasonable replacement. Sometimes you might have to take another course, but that happens all the time. That's really not an unusual situation.
I would agree with Sheila. We have quite a few students that will transfer from community college prior to finishing an associate's degree. The biggest thing is to know your progression and your timing of your application. So if you are interested in transferring, I recommend scheduling an appointment with my office so that we can go over your transfer credits and see when you would actually be applying. So, the timing has to kind of be aligned, right? So that you are not wasting a semester or two. So I definitely recommend meeting with an advisor so that you know exactly where you stand. But yes.
And it's also possible to transfer to UNC, just the College of Arts and Sciences, or the general college. You would apply by February 15th and start in August. That's the only time they bring in new transfer students usually. Then you would have that 1 year at UNC, finishing up any requirements that you have left, and then could apply to the nursing program between October and December to start with us the next fall. So the biggest thing, if you decide to do that, is definitely meet with the academic advising team on campus once you get to UNC to make sure you are not wasting any time. You're taking just exactly what you need to take for that year in between.
And I apologize, but if I can just add one more thing that has come up recently. If you do choose to go to I'm picking North Carolina just because I know this world, to make sure when you're going to a non-UNC system school, you check their accreditation. The biggest problem that we've had with transfer students is they either went to a college that only had a regional accreditation. I'm not proficient enough in the terminology, but because they were not accredited by the national body, their transfer credits did not count, and that's very depressing. So research the program you're looking at and make sure it's an accredited, valid body, and then you'll be better able to transfer, but that can really get in your way. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. Thank you for that. So for the next question, do the prerequisites need to be completed within a certain time frame? And we'll start with Carly, we'll go to Dominique, and then we'll go to Sheila.
For Anatomy and Physiology 1 and 2 and Microbiology, they need to have been taken within 5 years of applying. For Statistics and General Psychology, they need to have been taken within 10 years of applying. All other requirements, we do not have a course age limit.
At NCCU, we have a time limit on all math and science courses. So math would include college algebra, the biology courses, anatomy, physiology 1 and 2, microbiology, general biology if you do not have that course, chemistry, general chemistry, and organic chemistry. So they're all have to be completed within 5 years. Statistics, we do not consider a math in our program, but it is a requirement. So there's no time limit on statistics or any other general education course.
My computer had an issue, excuse me. We don't really have time limits for those progressions. If you have taken them and they qualify to match the transfer credits, this will not affect probably the people in this audience, but where we do have a problem is if you took courses 10, 15 years ago and they were on a quarter system or had a different kind of credit allocation, sometimes transferring those now that most people are on semesters can cause problems. We're working on some of the programs that are on like 8-week semesters to make sure that that content matches equally with what that semester requirement is. So those can get a little bit interesting, but we don't have a time limit on when you took the courses.
Okay. And for the fitness course requirement, can that be waived for military or veterans service members?
Yes. Yes,
Oh.
at UNC.
Okay, and we'll go to Sheila, then Dominique.
We don't have that requirement.
So with your JST, you automatically receive fitness and health as a transfer.
And also, if English is not the student's native language, can the foreign language requirement be waived? I'll start with Sheila, then we'll go to Dominique, and then Carly.
I do not know that answer, so if you'll let me be last, I'm doing some texting.
Sure.
At NCCU, we do allow you to complete a test out for foreign language. So we require at least a second level of foreign language. So we offer Spanish, French, and German on campus. So you can take a test out for any of those languages. If you speak another language, you can contact our foreign language department. And if there's someone in the UNC systems that can test you for that language, you can take an exam to receive a waiver for that.
A little bit of a complicated answer. So if you attended high school outside the US, or at least 50% of high school outside of the US in a country where the main language of instruction was something other than English, that usually exempts you from the foreign language requirement. There's different ways to kind of handle that. If you feel like you can just place into the third level at the community college, you can just take the third level of a foreign language. That's fine with us. You don't have to take all three. There are some opportunities for placement tests at UNC if you feel like you can place out of the language requirement. I try to steer students away from that because basically your admission is dependent upon it, because you cannot take the placement test until you're admitted. And then if you don't make a high enough score, unfortunately, we have to rescind your admission. That's never happened, but we don't like to kind of put you in that situation. So definitely recommend getting that foreign language out of the way first. Email us if you have a specific situation you want to ask about. We can certainly look into it for you. And then the other thing, you can take the CLEP, C-L-E-P, CLEP exam through the College Board for Spanish or French and get credit at UNC. But otherwise, it's usually just best to email us with whatever your specific question is about your circumstance, and we'll be happy to answer that for you.
And this is Sheila again. I was not able to reach anybody on short notice. Apparently, they're all working very hard. But I do know that we have the CLEP option to test out. And I would say the same thing is if you would reach out to me, if you have that question, I'll be glad to have that research and make it available. And I will send that back to you guys at Wake Tech so that you will have that if people ask questions.
Okay. And as far as the general biology requirements, Bio 111 and Bio 112 are required. We'll start with Sheila, we'll go to Carly, and then Dominique. Did you catch that, Sheila?
What I didn't catch was unmuting my mic while I was searching frantically on the website.
So for the Bio 111 and Bio 112, are they both required?
And let me just really quickly look because I haven't memorized those requirements. Actually, for admission, we require biology 165 or 168 and biology 166 or 169.
And those are both anatomy and physiology, correct?
Right. With lab.
Thank you.
At UNC, Bio 111 is required. And then Bio 168 and Bio 169.
I'll have to agree with Carly on that one. Our requirements are the same: Bio 111, 168, 169, and microbiology as well, 275.
Okay. And so for students during the COVID outbreak who may have previously taken the biology classes with labs, but this semester were not able to, how are those same courses being viewed? And we will start with Carly, we'll go to Dominique, and then Sheila.
So we do require labs for all of our science courses. So Bio 168, Bio 169, Bio 275, Bio 111, Chem 151, Chem 152. You need all those labs with those courses. It's fine if the labs are online. That's okay with us.
It's the same at NCCU. We do require the lab. So I'm not sure if Wake Tech did you all do pass or fail in the spring semester? But I know at Central, the students that receive pass or fail automatically receive a C average for those classes that they opted for that. But yes, the classes do require lab, and unfortunately, we're not making too many concessions with that.
Yeah, I agree with what they've said. And when I said just the 291, 292 with lab, I was looking at the RN to BSN. So if you're looking at the traditional or ABSN, what they said was true about that. I don't think there's any wiggle room on that. That's part of our commitment to the state and to the integrity of the program. So you wouldn't be able to wiggle out of that. Now, if you went to a university in northern Nebraska and they didn't have it exactly the same anatomy, physiology with lab, we'd have to look at the syllabus for what you did have to see if it matches. But it very rarely is. Anatomy and physiology are so generic in this health science, that's usually no flexibility in offloading that.
Okay. And so for the ABSN programs, is foreign language required? And we'll keep it here with Sheila, and then we'll go to Carly, then Dominique.
You must have had a foreign language, yes. If you haven't, as part of the other baccalaureate degree, you'll have to take that.
We don't require a foreign language for ABSN. It's just the 5 key sciences: A&P1, A&P2, micro, stats, and general psych.
We do not require foreign language for the ABSN option. We have 11 prerequisites, which are 4 biologies, 2 chemistries, and 4 support courses that are on our website. I don't want to say them all, but yes, you just need those 11 prerequisite courses.
And then also for foreign students, do they need to complete the TOEFL? And we'll stay here with Dominique, and then we'll go to Carly and then Sheila.
At this time, we do not require TOEFL for admissions into our program.
TOEFL is required, or IELTS, for students, international students. There are times when this could be waived. There are many exceptions to that, so it's always best to email us and we can let you know for sure if you need to take that.
I don't see any requirement for that listed, but I would agree with what Carly said. If you have a question specifically, send it to me and I'll be glad to check that out for you.
Okay, and for students who have graduated outside of the US from high school, but have taken English 111 and 112, would it be recommended for them to do the CLEP or the SAT foreign language exam, or is there some sort of placement test? And we'll start with UNC, and then we'll go to Central and then Western.
So if you graduated high school outside the US, as long as the primary language of instruction was something other than English, your foreign language requirement is waived. But again, probably best to just email us to be sure, and then you have something from us in writing also that confirms you don't need to take any additional steps for that.
So for NCCU, it's the same. We would require a test out. So I would inquire with us to see if the language that you speak, do we offer a test out? If not, we can do some more investigation and see if there's a availability for you to place out of foreign language requirement.
And we have the same process as well.
Okay, and we have a student asking about foreign language in high school. If you all could speak to that as well, and we'll keep it here with Sheila, and then we'll go to Dominique and then Carly.
Unless it's an early college course, we don't accept the high school components as part of that prerequisite. It needs to be at a college level.
It's the same at Central. We don't take high school level, but many of our students, for instance, if they take Spanish or French or German in a high school setting, they're able to place either into the second level or place out of the second level requirement for graduation.
Same for us. So it's got to be college level. If you took 3 years of a language in high school, you can probably either CLEP out of it or place into the third level, so you do not have to take all 3.
Okay, and also for students who are not familiar with the acronyms, could you explain the TEAS test as well as the NCLEX?
Oh, let me have NCLEX, because that one I really know, okay?
Okay, so we'll start here with Sheila, and then we'll go to Carly and
do the other one. The NCLEX is the national, anyway, it's your RN test that you take to receive your license after you complete your associate degree or your baccalaureate degree in nursing to meet the requirements. That is your RN licensure test. Next.
All right, so TEAS stands for Test of Essential Academic Skills, and it is a predictor of success as a nursing student, and it is administered by a company called ATI, and we use ATI through our entire program for supplemental resources for students. So you can go on their website, atitesting.com, You can find out about the exam, how long it is, how much it costs to take the exam, all that information. And I believe they also offer that at Wake Tech, as well as I believe y'all might have a prep course as well. So I know students do take that prep course, which is very helpful.
Y'all answered that beautifully. Don't have much to add. We don't require the T's. You got to take the NCLEX if you want to get RN behind your name. That's about it.
And then, so do you also accept international college transfer credits from any of the governing organizations? And we'll start with Carly, and then we'll go to Sheila, then Dominique.
We do accept international credits as long as, you know, it's an appropriately accredited school and things like that. It's definitely a case-by-case basis situation. It's best if you have an evaluation done by an evaluation agency like WES or ECE, or there's several out there, but you should go get a course-by-course evaluation done for all of your foreign coursework, and then we can look at it from there. But it's really a case-by-case basis.
And Carly, you did a beautiful job of that. Thank you very much.
I was getting ready to say, before you started, Sheila, is WES the most popular?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd have to agree. Everything Carly said was on point.
So Carly, if you could keep on answering first, we can.
It's all in Mike's hands. Got to leave it up to Mike.
Between you and Dominique, I could just sit here and smile and wave and say, thank you, everybody. Be a nurse.
And another student's asking, just for clarification, the online labs are okay as long as the lab is completed. And we'll stay here with Carly.
Yes.
And Sheila and Dominique, if you want to add anything.
And I would say it varies according to what you're actually speaking to. If, you know, for right now in COVID, online labs are being approved. Whether that's going to be the same in 2 years, I can't answer that. So it really is a case by case or a university or college decision about how they're going to handle that.
And we're referring to the major sciences. And then also, can chemistry 151 and 152 be replaced by any other chemistry courses? We'll start with UNC, and then we'll go to Western and then Central.
From Wake Tech, it's got to be Chem 151 and 152, or any North Carolina community college. We only accept those two classes.
I haven't memorized those transfers because I am not as I don't usually handle the beginning sessions of this admission process, but I would recommend that you look at the credits earned elsewhere. So if the website says we require whatever it is, you can look in that credits earned elsewhere that's on the web page and look up where you took it or where it's offered and see if it's an equivalency. Or you can reach out and ask.
So So the equivalent courses for Central would be Chemistry 151 and 132, actually. So we require organic, so it's not 152. If you took 151 and 152, we'll take the higher grade of that for your first level chemistry, but we do also require an organic. So you could also do 131 and 132. So you could either mix those two up.
Okay, and similarly with Bio 111 and 112, if a student has a higher biology, can that be substituted? And the same thing for anatomy and physiology, the A and P. If a student doesn't necessarily have 168 and 169, maybe if they have 163 or 165, can that also be substituted? We'll keep it here with Dominique, and then we'll go to Sheila and then Carly.
So if you take Bio 111 and 112, we can take the higher grade for admissions. As far as your A and P, it must be 168 and 169. We do not take 163, 165. And I think that's it.
And I just checked for us, and we are the same. The content is a little different, so for the anatomy and physiology, it's just a match.
For us, you need 111 to cover the general biology and lab requirement. You need 168 and 169 for A&P 1 and 2. If you have taken 163, that gets a little bit complicated. We can advise you on what you would need to do to fulfill the second part of anatomy and physiology in that case. It's going to require going to a different school, so we don't want you to do that. We want you to take Bio 168 and Bio 169.
Okay, so it sounds like 168 and 169 pretty much across the board. But can I also have you guys speak to any scholarship opportunities that are available for transfer students coming from Wake Tech? We'll keep it here at UNC, and then we'll go to Western and then Central.
Okay, so there are lots, first of all, just generally speaking, there are lots of nursing scholarships out there. So please start researching them now. If you go to the Johnson & Johnson website, they have tons of nursing scholarships. If you go to our website, we have tons of external nursing scholarships listed. So please go ahead and start looking into that now. We also would recommend that you look into the Forgivable Education Loan for Service through the College Foundation of North Carolina. So it's cfnc.org/FELS, F-E-L-S. If you are a North Carolina resident and plan to stay in North Carolina after you graduate and work as a nurse, that is a great opportunity. Please look into that. At UNC, there is financial aid available. You do want to fill out the FAFSA so the university and the school knows what you might be eligible for. There are in-house nursing scholarships that you're considered for just by being admitted to the program. Nothing as far as that goes that you would need to apply to separately or earlier. But definitely everybody fill out the FAFSA. That's the most important thing.
So I won't repeat that much because that is exactly the way ours is. But the other thing that we have a very special opportunity for is North Carolina schools, the state of North Carolina identified rural underserved areas as a special need for first-gen students. So we're part of something called NC Promise. And Dominic, I think you guys are too, aren't you? No, sorry. I knew I had a 50-50 chance of being right. But anyway, NC Promise drastically reduces the cost for students. It is funded by the state, so they just offset the cost. So for the RN to BSN program, the total program ends up being between $2,500 and $3,000 spread over 4 semesters. It's lower than a lot of opportunities. And I was trying to look at really quickly about the undergrad program as well, but it is about a 50% at least cut in what the normal cost is. So not only would you have opportunities for the traditional scholarships, but we are fortunate to be underserved and rural and not very many first-gen students. I mean, college educated parents yet. We're working on that.
All right, at NCCU, as far as scholarships go, if you have an associate degree, you will in a certain GPA, you will automatically receive a certain scholarship coming into the university. And it varies on price. In our transfer services, they manage that particular scholarship. So once you receive your admissions into NCCU, you'd want to follow up with transfer services to get that automatic scholarship. And I think it ranges from 500 to 2,000 or something like that. We also have nursing scholarships once you are admitted into nursing that you can apply for. There are university scholarships that you automatically be eligible for once you are admitted into the university as well. So just piggybacking off of what Carly said, it's pretty much the same process here at Central.
Okay, and do you all or do your institutions conduct transcript assessments prior to admissions? We'll stay here with Dominique, and then we'll go to Sheila and then Carly.
Yes, we do transfer evaluations every day. That's a very big part of what we do. And I recommend every student that's interested, please, please, please do a transcript evaluation before you even apply. So you know your situation before you transition your financial aid and courses and all of that goes on with transferring to a university. So please reach out to us and get your transcript evaluated before you decide to apply to the university.
We do informal transcript evaluations for RN to BSN. We call it that because until the transcripts are submitted to the university and they're reviewed by the registrar, there is no official decision. So we can tell you, pardon me, that you have all the requirements based on this articulation agreement or they are already an existing match, but it's not official until you actually apply and you're admitted. Distance learning also will do preliminary evaluations to tell you which direction you're headed in or that this will qualify, this won't, and do some guidance. So I think we're probably in the same situation as Dominique, but I just really always want to do the disclaimer. We work very hard to make sure we're giving expert advice, but the final call is that registrar review. When you when you apply for admission and they do the formal review.
So same process at UNC. We do unofficial transcript evaluations every day. It is unofficial, so the university, once you're admitted, they are the ones who conduct the formal review and award you the actual credit, but we are helping you from an advising perspective. Luckily, with the articulation agreement between the community colleges, it's pretty clear cut if you're coming from Wake Tech. So we do these for the BSN program, the accelerated BSN program, and our RN to MSN program. It is the most important step. If you're thinking about applying to our program, please request the unofficial transcript evaluation. It is really unfortunate. Usually, sometimes in some cycles, we'll see 40 to 50% of our transfer applicants are not eligible for admission. They're cut in the first stage of reviews because they do not have the courses that they need. So we want to avoid you being in that situation. Reach out to us early, do the transcript evaluation early, and we'll make sure you're on the right track. And this is in addition to obviously meeting with your academic advisor at your current school. That is the other, really important thing that you should be doing early on.
And just to clarify, so students will complete a general transfer admissions application followed by a nursing program application. And we'll stay here with Carly and then we'll go to Dominique and then Sheila.
So for us, you don't have to apply to the university separately. If you're trying to transfer directly from Wake Tech into the nursing program at UNC, it's just you apply to the nursing program. Now, if you are not admitted to our program, your application actually undergoes a secondary review by the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, and you can then be considered for admission to the College of Arts and Sciences instead. So basically, it's like nursing is priority, If you're not admitted, you get reviewed for arts and sciences, but you do not have to apply to the university separately. You don't have to be admitted to UNC First. You don't have to take any classes at UNC First. You can come right from Wake Tech into the nursing program.
So our nursing program is a two-step application process. So you would have to apply to the university first, be admitted, and start those pre-nursing courses for our traditional program in a spring semester. That same semester, you would also complete your nursing application, and it will be reviewed, and you're notified by May of your status to begin classes this summer.
And ours is similar. You will apply to the Western Carolina University, $65, you put it in, and you will be accepted to the university. Then there's a no-cost application to the nursing program where it's about who you are, what you are, and it's just paper, and well, it's not paper, it's electronic, but it's that process. So we have a two-step. For the RN to BSN, you don't apply to Western's general community, you apply to Western's distance learning program. Same cost, same process. It just keeps them separate so that we can make sure our distance learning folks don't get lost in the swamp of the gazillion applications that go through Western's generic admission process.
Okay, and so our last question is, can students set up an appointment to speak with you on campus or virtually? And we'll stay here with Sheila, and then we'll go to Dominique and then Carly.
Of course, I'm always glad to speak with people. My preference right now is virtually because it's just easier for the world. At the point that you are in your education process, probably the first step is to look at the materials and compare the universities just financially and from a program standpoint before you make an appointment to ask questions, because generally the questions are going to be, what are my prerequisites, when do you apply, and those kinds of things at this point. Now, if you're making a decision about, do I really want to be a nurse? I'm glad to talk about that till I turn green, because I can tell you all the reasons why that is a valuable profession, and it's varied and it's wonderful, and don't get me started. So yes, I'm very willing to sit down by Zoom and talk to anybody, but probably it's a little premature right now to do that kind of fishing, but we'll do it. I hope I didn't turn anybody off by the way I said that. Listen to what Carly and Dominique say. They will say it much better, and then I'll say, well, that's what exactly I meant.
All right, of course, you can definitely schedule an appointment to meet with Nursing Student Services at NCCU. Currently we're only doing virtual advising sessions. So if you have a laptop with a camera, we can schedule an appointment through WebEx, or we can have a phone conversation. And what I can do is I can share my link for my appointment scheduler, and then any student that's interested, hopefully that you can go on and schedule the information session so that we can discuss your future at NCCU.
We are happy to meet with you by Zoom right now. We can set up an appointment to do that. You can also just call us. We're in the office usually 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Somebody is there who can answer admissions related questions. So feel free to give us a call. With that being said, I promise you that most of your questions will be answered by doing the unofficial transcript evaluation. That really knocks it out for most people. That's really what they're interested in, is how are my courses going to transfer? Am I on the right track? Am I ready to apply? So the evaluation is going to be the most helpful to you. We also have information sessions, which is a great way to learn everything you need to know about the program all at one time, hear from faculty, hear from me about how to prepare a competitive application, hear from current students. And we have an information session coming up this Thursday at 5:30. You can sign up for it on our website. Other than that, you're always welcome to set up an appointment with us by phone or by Zoom right now.
Okay, and we have another just last second question if I can squeeze this in. If a student has already received their ASN and has started working and they later on want to complete their BSN, what are the requirements and how many years do they have to get the BSN? And Carly, you can kick us off, and then Dominique and Sheila.
Okay, so we no longer have an RN to BSN program at Chapel Hill. We have an RN to MSN. It requires 1 year of work experience full-time as an RN prior to entry. It is a 3-year program. So it's 1 year where you're kind of doing bridge courses and then you jump into the regular full-time MSN curriculum. But I think my 2 colleagues here, I think they both have RN to BSN programs.
So yes, at Central, we have a RN to BSN option for students. It can be completed actually in 2 semesters if you're very ambitious, but you'll have to have 30 contact hours at Central. The RN to BSN courses is 22 credits, and so then you'll have to have at least 8 elective credits. We will do a transcript evaluation on you to find out if you have all the general education requirements needed. If there's some classes that you need, we can have you register for those online. So the entire program is online, and then you can finish up your RN to BSN courses, like I said, within a few semesters.
Ours is very similar. Ours is a 30-hour program, and we have flexibility. Usually the course load is 24 core RN to BSN hours, and they're set up in 6-hour blocks right now. So the minimum you could take per semester would be 6 hours. You'd have to decide based on your life if you want to take 9 or 12 to get done faster. It's just according to what kind of learner you are and what kind of life you have, but we work with you on those kinds of things. But we also are able to spread it out. We've had many students in the last several years whose life and work have complicated things. So they're taking 6 hours in the fall and spring and taking summers off. So we can be very flexible. There's no limit. The fastest you could do it is in 2 semesters with 12 hours each semester. What I would say to your beginning of your question would be, if there's any way you can work it out in your life to get started within 6 months of completing your degree, I highly recommend it, because every day that passes after you get out of school is another day of dread where you say, I don't think I'm really ready. It's too busy, or I've got too much going on. There's never a good time. So my recommendation is, while you're still in that learning and working mode, that you get right back in and you keep going. Don't wait too long.
Great. Thank you guys so much for those responses. I think the students and participants had some really great questions for you guys. I'm not seeing any other questions jumping into the chat box, so we'll go ahead and conclude our nursing information session for this morning. I do want to take a moment to thank our partners for taking the time to be with us this morning, and to our students and participants who joined in and participated and dropped questions in for us. On the screen here in just a moment, hopefully you'll see some contact information for myself, as well as the 3 university partners that have joined us today. So if you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out. And we certainly hope that you all have a great rest of your day. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
So has everyone signed off, all the students?
If any students want to jot those that contact information down for any of those representatives, go ahead and do that. And then we'll close off from this session here in the next minute or two. And we look forward to answering any questions that you guys may have after today's event. But like I said, go ahead and jot that contact information down if you think that you'll need that for later.